Welcome back. This is the Math 8 Interim Assessment Study Guide, Part 2. So let's go ahead and jump right in so I can get as much in this video as possible. All right, so determine which set of points have the same slope. When we talked about slope, we talked about that all points on the same line are collinear. And these collinear points have the same slope. So the slope from A to B is the same or is equal to the slope from B to C is equal to the slope from C to D, which is also equal to the slope from let's go back. Let's take a step back here. So those three slopes are all equal in their reduced form. Another slope that would be the same would be from A to C. Also, another slope that would be the same would be B to D, because any points on the same line, that slope in its reduced form will always be the same. Next question. Line T has triangle ECA and triangle FDB. Which statements are true? So the slope of AC is equal to the slope of BC. Well, that's true. The slope of AC is equal to the slope of BD. That is true. The slope of line AC is equal to the slope of line T. That's true. The slope of line T is equal to EC over, so EC over AE. That would be incorrect because remember, slope is rise over run. The next one would be the slope of FB. Sorry, the slope of line T is equal to FB over FD. That would be correct. And then the last one, the slope of the line is equal to AE over FD. Those wouldn't even match up. So those are our correct answers. All right, moving right along. The table shows points on a graph of a linear function. What is the slope? Remember, from a table, we can always get a set of xy coordinates. So all of these are an xy combination. So my coordinates would be -2, 13, 1, 1, 2, -3, and 4, -11. Remember, when I find the slope, all I need are 2 points. So I could pick any of these 2 points and plug it into my slope formula. So the slope, or m, and this would be 1 minus a -2 over 1 minus 13. So 1 minus -2, remember that negative becomes positive. So 1 plus 2 over 1 minus 13 is -12. So I get 3 over -12. If it asks you to reduce, 3 goes into 3 one time and 3 goes into 12 4 times. What is the equation of the line below? So the equation of a line, remember, if it goes through the origin, that means it is proportional, which means the line is y equals mx, where all we're doing is plugging in for m. All I'm doing is plugging in for m, and m means slope. So all I need to do is find the slope of the line. We picked 2 points on that line. Our rise is 3, our run is 1, so our slope is 3 over 1, which is 3. So my equation is y equals 3x, and bam, we're done with that one. All right, next example. What is the equation of the line below? This would be non-proportional. With non-proportional graphs, it's y equals mx plus b. So be very careful, this graph is actually in increments of 5. So let's pick our 2 points. I have a point here and a point here. So our rise would be 5, 10, 15, 20. And it's 20 in the negative direction. Over our run, which is 5, 10, 15. So remember, slope is equal to rise over run. And in this case, that slope is negative because the line is descending. So again, that rise is 5, 10, 15, 20 over 15, and it's negative. And we can reduce that. We can reduce that. So what number both goes into 20 and 15? That would be 5. So 20 divided by 5 is 4, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So my slope would be negative 4/3. And remember, when we're writing an equation, this slope is going to go in for m. But when we have a non-proportional, we also need to identify b. And b is that y-intercept. So that y-intercept is negative 15. So I'm going to put those two pieces of information together and write my equation. So y is equal to negative 4/3 x minus 15. Let me be a little bit more specific right here. Y-intercept is negative 15. So that is my equation. All right, it is very important in 8th grade math that we know how to solve the equation for x. So when we're solving an equation, remember, we are trying to get this x by itself. So let's go ahead and move things. So 2/3 x minus 4.5 equals negative 8. I need to add this 4.5 to both sides. So 2/3 x equals negative 8 plus 4.5 is equal to negative 3.5 or 3.5. All right. Now it's 2/3 times x. So I'm going to actually, because it's 2/3 times x, I am going to divide both sides by 2/3. So x equals, give me 1 second here, I'm plugging into my handy dandy calculator. So negative 3.5 divided by 2/3 is equal to negative 5.25. Very good. All right, so in the next one, it says for each equation, state whether there's no solution, one solution, or infinitely amount of solutions, and give your reason. So when we're talking about solutions, we need to compare sides, and you want to think about the line. So in this first one, before I solve this, I actually need to distribute and see what's going on with these two sides. So if I were to solve this side, 3x minus 6 equals 3x minus 6. That's actually a true statement. That's a true statement. So because of that, that actually would tell me how many solutions I would have. I would actually have infinitely amount of solutions because the two sides are equal. So no matter what I plug in for x, the two sides are equal. In the second one, if you look at these two sides, they're not equal. However, if I were to solve this algebraically, so let me do this out here. We have 2x plus 7 equals negative 2x plus 7. If I were to solve this algebraically, I would get 4x plus 7 equals 7. 4x equals 0, so x equals 0. There is one solution because x is equal to 0. So when I solve, I found out that x equaled a number. So that means there is one solution. In that last example, if I were to solve algebraically, the x's cancel out and I'm left with 7 equals 0. That is not a true statement. So because of that, there's no solution. And the reason there's no solution is because these sides are not equal. All right, so let's go ahead and continue this solving for x. So remember when we solve for x, if there's distribution, we need to distribute. So negative 3.5 times 10x would give me, I believe it's 35. Let's check it out. So negative 35x. Negative 3.5 times negative 2 would be positive 7. And let's go ahead and follow those rules and move everything away from that variable by subtracting 7 on both sides. So we get 169.75. Divide both sides by negative 35. So x is equal to negative 4.85. All right. And let's look at this one real quick before my timer runs out here. Let's go ahead and solve for x. Remember, we need to distribute first. So 1/5 times 2x would give me 2/5 x minus 1/5 of 10 is 2 plus 4x equals negative 3/5 x minus 12. It does look like my timer is going to run out, so we're going to pick this one up in part 3.